I would like to go to work. I want to be a teacher, just like my dad. I want to be a doctor. A mom. When I grow up, I want to be in the Air Force with the Army. When I grow up, I want to be a pet doctor. I don't know.
Are well known right now to every family in America, and that is the cost of college has gone through the roof. $1.2 trillion. That's how much student loan debt is outstanding. This thing is a monster that keeps getting bigger and bigger every single day. Today, when I woke up, students owe more student loan debt than they owed yesterday.
I didn't understand. I didn't know how much $160,000 really was. I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
It's kind of strange that the consequences for taking out the student loan type of debt versus another type of consumer debt are so different and so much worse.
Yes, I want to go to college very badly.
Well, obviously, yes, I would like to go to college.
My dad, he's always said he'd pretty much disown me if I didn't attend college.
Kind of assumed that we'll all go to college, at least my generation.
The cost of going to college has never been that much of a worry for me.
Not so much me, but my dad has been worried about that.
I haven't really thought about it yet.
We're gonna find a way to work it out.
There is not a lot of controversy in terms of the value of a college education. People who have a college degree will likely make more money over the course of their lives than people without a college degree. There are lots of studies to back that up. Whether that means that it's worth it to go deep into debt to get that degree, I think is another story.
Getting rich on quicker. Move on, be strong, live long, 'cause we got that far. We gon' get right.
Average tuition, including room and board, is $35,000 a year.
Tuition at Culinary Institute of America is about $36,000 a year.
When they're coming out of something like physical therapy assisting, they're usually starting in the high 30s, low 40s. Business, sometimes a little lower.
From a bachelor's degree program, it's typically between $35,000 a year and about $40,000 a year.
$56,000.
That's kind of the average nowadays, though, right?
It is, yeah. But our children will be making $100,000.
Your children?
And making a difference in the world.
Do you think in the daily life of a high schooler, they're given the right information to really know how much college is going to cost based off how much they're going to be making coming out of college?
No, I really don't think that they do.
I just want them to clean their rooms.
I think that kids get really anxious about college, or they're not anxious at all.
I'm not really worried about the financial situation. I mean, I probably should be, but right now it's just kind of getting set with what I actually like.
In the world we live in today, you would think it would be easy to find the accurate information you need about the costs of higher education. But the information about tuition is often not the first priority when it comes to attracting a potential student. Because information can be difficult to understand, we get caught up with what our education looks like on the outside.
Boston, of course, is the hub, as they say. We have more universities and colleges per square foot than we have bars and taverns. Harvard, Emerson College, Boston University, Boston College. I mean, these places have been shot in movies. I mean, they're written about in books. Boston is so synonymous with higher education. Not only that, but the city itself lends itself to excitement for kids, culture. You've got history, you've got sports, you've got entertainment, art, music. It's all here. The idea that you allow people this great opportunity to have an education in a place like Boston with so much to offer, and you say, here's the money, go for it. This is basically a no-win scenario. If you're stuck with thousands in debt and thousands of interest and you have no out, what do you do?
Student loans can be traced back to 1867 with the authorization of the U.S. Department of Education, followed by 1958 with the National Defense Education Act, where it was the first federal student aid program for low-income students.
The federal government became heavily involved in student loans with the signing of the Higher Education Act of 1965. And have since been amending it and reauthorizing it. What started as an effort to help returning soldiers access education has morphed into this debt-based system where more and more of the escalating costs of education are on the backs of students and families.
There are two types of loans, federal loans and private loans. Federal loans are loans guaranteed by the U.S. government. Private loans are offered by banks or other financial institutions.
Anyone who's thinking about going to college should fill out the FAFSA, and that free application for federal student aid is what qualifies people for both grant and loan programs through the federal government. Federal student loans are less risky and expensive than private student loans.
Private loans are lent directly by private entities such as banks and commercial lenders. Very, very inflexible deferment and forbearance options, often higher interest rates, pretty much at the mercy of the lender in terms of, if you ever get in trouble and you can't make your payments, you may be out of options.
Deferment, or in other terms, forbearance, allows you, the borrower, to temporarily postpone or reduce your federal student loans. Postponing or reducing your loans may help you avoid default for a limited amount of time. Default occurs when a borrower is 90 days past due on their payments, and once you're in default, it's very hard to get out. Colleges and universities on the surface are not giving you all the information about how much college really costs. They're not counting the interest rate, which can lead to thousands and thousands of more dollars in payments.
I had a client who had a $30,000 private loan, and over the course of the repayment term, it just said in black and white that he was expected to repay $130,000 at the estimated interest rate.
How did that happen?
Just the way the repayment plan is structured and based on the interest rate, they estimate that through the repayment term, if you make every payment every month, that you would wind up paying many times over the amount that you originally borrowed. That's how these lenders make money.
Early in the 20th century, our nation decided that high school was really important. We told our young people that that was the path to success in industrial America. And what happened? It became a public good. It became financed by the public fisc. High school is part of public education everywhere in this country.
Tuition is going up at a rate higher than inflation, and so it just costs more to go to school. What you have is people who are paying more to get a degree that winds up earning less money, simply because they can't get a job and a return on the investment.
Growing up, I wanted to be something bigger than myself. I wanted to be the next Oprah Winfrey, the next Katie Couric, somebody who could make a difference in the world and get to have fun while doing it. And now, with my current debt weighing on my shoulders, that's not exactly something I could do. I have to spend a lot of my energy just making sure I can pay off my loans every month, and I put my energy into a sales job where the money is because that's my only option. I'm hoping that I can pay off that debt in a short amount of time so I can go make a difference the way I wanted to.
And what is your current total debt from student loans?
$137,000.
When I finally got an acceptance letter and my mom saw the look on my face, she knew that I was able to scratch one thing off my list, and she was never, obviously discussing with my father, there was no way they were not going to send me to school. I'm currently $70,000 in debt to student loans.
My government loan is about $35,000, and my private loan is just over $100,000. And that's not including the extra $20,000 that I've paid in interest in the last couple of months.
So your total debt is almost $140,000.
Yeah.
And you originally took out
$87,000. Yeah. And that's with paying everything on time.
My monthly student loan payments are $1,700. That's just to the federal government. That doesn't include my private loans, which are to Wells Fargo and Citibank, and those payments are roughly $100 each a month. The food stamp building denied me for food stamps because I didn't show my proof of identity fast enough. I was working all week, so there was a month, I think it was like November, that I actually didn't think I was going to eat for about a week, and luckily my friends gave me food, and I'm a 20-something-year-old, and that's really horrible that I actually was in that type of situation. And I don't know if that qualifies as that serious of a hardship, but I think it probably does, especially given that I lived in a third world country where I thought life was easier.
These are not young people who went to the mall in order to say, gee, what else can I buy, and ran up debt and now wants some help. These are young people who did everything we asked them to do. We penalize those young people by saying you're going to pay more for your education than people who have the blessing of being born to a family that can pay for it up front.
How do you feel about the fact that Ryan and Casey are struggling so much with student loans?
I think that's a sin. It's an absolute sin.
What would you say to Casey? He feels very guilty about his student loans and about moving. If you could say anything to him, what would you say?
You could just pray for him, because I wish I had the money to hand him and pay for the damn thing.
Hey, Mom. Yeah? Just say hi.
Hi. It's moving day.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Watch where we're going.
Okay.
You all right, Mom?
With over $140,000 in student loan debt, I thought my family and I had it the worst. I was wrong.
In a lot of private student loan contracts, there is a clause that states that if the borrower or the cosigner dies, it triggers default. The entire balance becomes due. It's insane, and it is deeply upsetting, and it is also perfectly legal.
Dante ended up going to Marshall University. The scholarship was only for 4 years. He had to take out student loans in order to complete that 5th year. He came back to his college town and on the 4th of July to celebrate one of his best friend's birthday. Someone had a problem with someone else, and anyway, at the end of the evening, Dante was shot, which he actually passed on Bruce's 16th birthday. He was 25. Dante had started paying his student loan before he passed. So after he missed the first payment because he was dead, they called us a month, maybe. We thought they were sympathetic. You know, they said, we're sorry for the loss of your son. We're truly sorry about the loss. And then they would go on and say, do you have a death certificate? Could they call and we fax it again and we'd fax it again, and you know, finally my husband said, you know, we don't want to pull this out again. It just constantly reminds us that our child is dead. Can you all get it together? We faxed this thing, but when they finally got it, it was only to take my son's name off of the student loan and put my husband's name on and make him responsible.
They don't want to work at finding a solution to even the problem of someone, passing away and the undue stress that it's put on them. The hardship is not the student loan, the hardship is the loss. I mean, we've lost a family member. We're not talking about a number, we're talking about a person. We're talking about someone who has children, someone who has a life and a legacy, and you don't want that legacy to be a student loan. This is not the bad guy.
No, right.
The bad guy is still living. He's in jail, but he's still living.
You should pay off the loans.
Someone wrote that on change.org, make his murderer pay the loans. But
we were talking earlier about him not wanting to be a burden on his parents and wouldn't leave them with that debt. And he wouldn't. He wanted to succeed, to take care of his family that he loved so much.
My husband served this country for 21 years, and this is what the country is giving back to him. There's another parent with a child that's dad or there's a child that's disabled and can't pay the student loan, those companies aren't going to tell you, well, it doesn't matter. Dad or it doesn't matter. You're going to pay. Somebody's going to pay. We don't care who it is. Somebody's going to pay. So if this is going to help parents to stop. Yeah, I know your child has to go to school, but read, define, pray. Ask the questions, you know. Understand what you're getting your child into.
I've gotten a chance to at least try and use my education for a bright future. They don't even have that option. They don't even have an asset anymore. It's all a deficit. It's all death to them, including money and life, and it's not fair.
Life is all about choices. The choices you make dictate your future. You should never feel like you don't deserve the best school that's out there. But I think that you have to always remember there is a level of responsibility that goes along with every choice you make.
I genuinely believe that anyone who wants to go to college should be able to go to college and not necessarily go deep into debt to make that happen.
I have some close friends who did the 4 years of school and they went to grad school and now they've got jobs where they started at $80,000. And then I've got other friends who did the same exact thing, and they're either a bartender or working in a restaurant with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Gotta try to get it right. This is where we make the decision. We as a country, we as a people are going to make the investments in our young people. We are going to help create the opportunities so that they can build a stronger future for themselves, for their children, and for their grandchildren.
College may not be as clear of a path to success as it once was, but that doesn't change anything about your potential. All you have to do right now is understand what you and your family are getting into and prepare before it's too late. Some things may be out of your control, but your dreams can be within reach. Get ready for your future, starting today.
This is all that's left of you. It's a long road, that's what she told me to my face, and I don't have that kind of patience. It's a long road, that's what she told me to my face, and I don't have that kind of patience. Now I take a step back and I hold out my hand. This is my last try. Gotta try to believe in the days to come. Yeah, we're living in the fight of our lives. When I'm alone, I get to thinking, and I will trade everything with them. Can I try what I dream? Can I cry when I scream? Yeah, now life can begin.